Vuex is one of the most popular ways in Vue to create a data store. And this means that our Vue app has one singular source of truth that's used in our Vue components, and when we want to change the state, we have a predictable one-directional data flow to do this. Not only does this ensure that data across multiple components stays the same, but it also helps with dev tooling, so we can see exactly how and when our data is being changed. For this video, I'll assume that you know a little bit about Vuex, but if you want a true beginner level video, let me know in the comments. But going back to Vuex, a lot of the core functionality is already great in Vue 3. To install Vuex into our Vue 3 projects, we can run npm install vuex at next -- save. For example, inside of main.js, we can add Vuex by creating a store and then adding our state, mutations, which are synchronous ways to change our state, and actions, which can be asynchronous and call mutations. And from here, we can tell our app to use our store, and that's all we need to do to get Vuex installed in our app. So let's create a component where we access our store. In our template, we'll include our count variable, and then inside of our script, we want to create a computed method, and it has to be computed to maintain reactivity, and inside of count, we'll return this.store.state.count. But let's say that we had other properties in our store, like a value for a name and a message. Instead of having to create individual properties for all of these, we can go back to our component and import mapState from Vuex, and then we can set computed to mapState, and then pass in the property names from our store of the values we want in this component. So for us, we'll say count, name, and message. This is a great concise way to access our store, and also works for mapping actions, mutations, and getters. But if we switch over to the composition API, if we want to access a single property, we can do something similar. We'll import computed from Vue and use store from Vuex. We'll create our store, and then we can create our computed property count, and inside we'll return store.state.count. But let's see what happens if we use mapState from Vuex. So we'll import it, and we'll say const count, name, and message, and pass in our mapState like we did with the options API. If we look at our app, we'll see that we get a bunch of JavaScript printed out on the screen, and this obviously is not our values. And that's because this isn't mapping to computed properties behind the scenes. But to fix this, we can use the Vuex Composition Helpers library on GitHub, which is a utility package that makes Vuex play really nicely with the composition API. So for Vue 3, we want to npm install Vuex Composition Helpers at next. And then inside of our component, we want to import useState, and let's also import useActions from our Vuex composition helpers. And if your Vue app is written with JavaScript, you have to add /dist in your import statement. And now where we're accessing our state, we can say useState and pass it an array of those property names in our Vuex store. And as you guessed, you can do the same thing with actions, mutations, or getters. So now in our template, we're actually getting our value from count. So that's all for this Vuex video. I just wanted to share a library that I found super helpful when working with Vuex and the composition API. Once again, if you want a Vuex simplified video, let me know in the comments down below. And if you like the video, consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps out, and I promise I'll be posting tons of great Vue videos. But as always, if you have any questions, just let me know, and happy coding.